He left me a voicemail from the day before we met. Part 1, the voicemail. The voicemail arrived at 2:17 in the morning. That was the first strange thing. The second was the voice. And the third was the date. I was half asleep when my phone vibrated across the nightstand. I reached for it without opening my eyes, expecting the usual collection of notifications that somehow survived the night. Emails from work, a weather alert, an app reminding me that I had not exercised in 3 days. Instead, there was one missed call. No name, no number, just voicemail, one new message. I almost deleted it. Almost. But something about the timing made me sit up. Outside my apartment window, Chicago was unusually quiet. Snow had started falling earlier that evening, covering the cars along my street and turning the orange streetlights into blurry halos. I pressed play. At first, there was only static, then a man's breathing, slow, close to the microphone, then his voice. "Hey, Emma." I froze. Nobody called me Emma. Not anymore. My full name was Emily Carter. My friends called me Em. My mother called me Emily. My coworkers called me Carter because there were 3 Emilys in the office. Emma was what my father had called me when I was little. But the voice continued. I know this is going to sound impossible. I sat completely still. His voice was warm, a little tired, maybe early 30s. Tomorrow, you're going to meet me. My heart skipped. The message continued. You won't know who I am. That's okay. Actually, please don't tell me you recognize me. It will make things worse. I stared at the phone. The timestamp beneath the voicemail read, October 14, 2024, 11:48 p.m. I looked at the current date, October 15. The message had supposedly been recorded the night before. That wasn't impossible. The impossible part was that I had never met this man. At least, I was almost certain I hadn't. I'm leaving this because tomorrow doesn't go the way it should. There was a pause. You'll be at Bellwether Cafe around 9 in the morning. You'll order coffee. You'll sit near the window. And you'll be reading a book with a blue cover. My mouth went dry. On the table beside my bed was the exact book, a blue-covered mystery novel I had bought that afternoon. He knew. I'll be sitting 3 tables behind you. I stopped breathing. Don't come looking for me. A long silence followed. Then he whispered something that made the skin on my arms rise. Because if you find me before I find you, you might change everything. The recording ended. I replayed it. Then again. Then a 4th time. Every detail was identical. The voice, the breathing, the words, the timestamp. I checked the voicemail information. The call had come from a blocked number. I checked my phone settings. No forwarded calls. No strange apps. Nothing. I even called my carrier. The automated system confirmed that the voicemail existed. That should have made me feel better. It didn't. At 3:17 9:04 in the morning. I searched the internet for the cafe. Bellwether Cafe was real. It was 6 blocks from my apartment, and I had been planning to go there the next morning. That was the part that frightened me most, because I hadn't told anyone. Not my mother, not my best friend, Rachel, not even myself, really. I'd made the decision earlier that afternoon, almost absent-mindedly, while walking home from work. I had simply thought, tomorrow I'll try that little cafe. Now a stranger knew. I barely slept. At 7:30, I gave up. I showered, dressed, and stood in front of the mirror longer than I care to admit. Don't go, I told myself. Then I remembered the man's voice. Tomorrow, you're going to meet me. Maybe it was a prank. Maybe someone had hacked my phone. Maybe I'd heard a recording from the future, because my brain was officially losing its grip. But there was only one way to know. At 8:42, I left my apartment, and at 8:57, I walked into Bellwether Cafe. The place smelled like cinnamon, roasted coffee, and wet coats. People sat behind laptops. A mother was helping a little girl color a picture. An old man near the counter was reading the newspaper. Everything looked normal. Too normal. I ordered a latte. Then I saw it. A table beside the window. 3 tables behind it was an empty chair. I sat down. I placed the blue book in front of me and waited. At 9:03, the bell above the door rang. A man walked in. Dark coat, brown hair, rain on his shoulders. He looked around the room. Then his eyes landed on me. He stopped, not for long, just half a second, but long enough. He knew me, or he thought he did. He looked away and walked to the counter. My phone vibrated. I nearly dropped it. A new voicemail. Same blocked number. Same voice. Whatever you do, Emma. A pause. Don't fall in love with him. I looked up. The man at the counter was staring directly at me. And somehow, before I knew his name, I knew one thing. He was the man in the voicemail. Part 2, 3 tables away. I should have left. Any sensible person would have. I could have stood up, walked out of Bellwether Cafe, gone home, locked the door, and called Rachel. Instead, I stayed. There was something about the man that made leaving feel impossible. Maybe it was the way he kept glancing toward me. Maybe it was the strange familiarity in his face. Or maybe it was the fact that I had spent an entire night being told I would meet him. He took his coffee to a table near the back, 3 tables away, exactly as the voicemail predicted. I opened my book. I didn't read a single word. For the next 20 minutes, I watched him without looking like I was watching him. He was probably 32, maybe 33. Blue-gray eyes, a small scar near his left eyebrow, dark hair that looked like he'd run his hand through it several times. He wore a simple charcoal sweater beneath his coat. Nothing remarkable, and yet I couldn't shake the feeling that I had seen him before. Finally, he stood. My pulse jumped. He walked toward the exit. As he passed my table, he slowed. He didn't look at me. He simply said, "Nice book." Then he left. I stared after him. The blue book was closed. He couldn't have seen the cover. At least, not from where he'd been sitting. My phone vibrated. I already knew what it was. Another voicemail. I pressed play. That's him. His voice sounded more urgent now. His name is Noah Bennett. I looked through the cafe window. The man was standing across the street. Noah, the recording continued. Do not tell him about the voicemail. I swallowed. He won't believe you. A pause, and you won't believe him either. The message ended. I stared at the screen. Then I did something incredibly stupid. I followed Noah. He walked east. I stayed half a block behind him. Snow had turned to a cold drizzle. Cars passed between us. At one intersection, I nearly lost him. Then I saw him enter a bookstore. I waited outside. 5 minutes later, he came back out carrying a paper bag. He looked up, straight at me. I panicked. I turned around and walked away. Emma, I stopped. My entire body went cold. He knew my name. I slowly turned. Noah stood 10 feet away. You forgot your scarf. He held out a gray scarf. My scarf. I touched my neck. It was gone. I hadn't noticed. Oh, I said. He smiled. Are you okay? Yes. It came out too quickly. He raised an eyebrow. That's usually what people say when they aren't. I took the scarf. Thanks. You're welcome. Neither of us moved. Then he asked, have we met before? My stomach tightened. No. He studied my face. I thought so. You did. He nodded. About a year ago. My heart stopped. Where? I don't know. That doesn't make sense. I know. He looked uncomfortable. It's strange. Sometimes I see someone in a dream, and later I recognize them. I forced a laugh. That's creepy. Yeah. He smiled. But you look familiar. I wanted to tell him everything. The voicemail, the date, his name, the warning. Instead, I said, maybe you have one of those faces. What kind? The kind people forget. He laughed, and for 1 second, everything felt normal. Then his expression changed. He looked past me, at the cafe, at the window where I'd been sitting. Did you come here because of me? The question hit me like cold water. No. He nodded slowly. Okay. Then he walked away. I watched him disappear into the crowd. My phone vibrated. I didn't want to check it, but I did. Another voicemail. This time, there was no introduction. Only 4 words. Don't trust Noah Bennett. I looked at the cafe, then at the street where Noah had disappeared. For the first time, I wondered whether the mysterious voice was actually trying to protect me or control me. Part 3. The Woman in the Red Coat. By noon, I had convinced myself that the voicemail was some elaborate prank. By 1, I had convinced myself that Noah Bennett was part of it. By 2, I was terrified that neither explanation was true. I called Rachel. She answered on the 4th ring. "If you're calling to cancel tonight, I'm hanging up. I need you to listen to something." "That sounds serious." "It is." I played the voicemail. There was silence. Then Rachel said, "Okay." "Okay. That's definitely creepy." "That's all. What do you want me to say?" "I don't know." She sighed. "Send it to me." I did. A minute later, my phone rang. "Where did you get this?" "Last night." "Who is it?" "I don't know." "Then how does he know your name?" "I don't know." Rachel was quiet. Are you sure you didn't give someone your number?" "No." "Dating app?" "No." "Work?" "No." "Some guy you met and forgot?" "I would remember." "Maybe." Her voice softened. "Come stay with me tonight." I almost said yes. Then I saw someone outside my office window. A woman in a red coat. She was standing across the street, looking directly at me. I recognized her. She had been in Bellwether Cafe that morning. She'd been sitting near the door, watching Noah. Now she was watching me. "Rachel." "Yeah." "There's someone outside." "Who?" "I don't know." The woman turned, walked away. "Wait." I grabbed my coat. "I'm going outside." "Emma, don't." I ran downstairs. By the time I reached the street, she was gone. I searched the sidewalk. Nothing. Then I noticed something on the ground. A small envelope. My name was written across it. Emily Carter. Not Emma. Emily. My real name. I picked it up. Inside was a photograph. Noah, standing beside the woman in the red coat. On the back of the photograph was a date. October 14, 2023. 1 year before the voicemail. And beneath it, 3 words. "You already met." My hands began shaking. I called Rachel again. She answered immediately. "What happened?" "I think I've met Noah before." "What?" "I found a photograph." "Where?" "Outside my office." "Who gave it to you?" "I don't know." Go home. I need to find him." "No." "Rachel, listen to me. Whoever is doing this wants you to chase Noah." I stared at the photograph. She was right. Maybe. But there was something else. On the photograph, Noah wasn't smiling. He looked terrified. And the woman in the red coat had one hand on his shoulder, like she was holding him there. I turned the photo over again. The message had changed. At least I thought it had. The words were different. "He doesn't remember." My phone rang. Blocked number. I answered. No one spoke. "Hello." Breathing. Then a whisper. "Run." The call ended. Across the street, a black SUV pulled away from the curb. I watched it disappear. Then I looked down at the photograph. For the first time, I noticed something behind Noah. a familiar building, my building, and a date written on the window. October 15, 2024. Tomorrow, but the photograph had supposedly been taken a year ago. Part 4. The apartment door. That night, I slept at Rachel's apartment, or tried to. We watched television until midnight, ordered Chinese food, and avoided discussing the photograph. At 12:17, Rachel finally asked, "Do you think Noah is dangerous?" "I don't know." "Do you think the voice is dangerous?" "I don't know." "That's helpful." I smiled weakly. Then my phone buzzed. A voicemail. Neither of us moved. Rachel looked at me. "You want me to listen?" "No." "Good." We listened together. "Emily." The voice was different. Not the same man. This one belonged to a woman. "You're asking the wrong question." Rachel whispered, "Who is that?" The message continued. "It's not whether Noah is dangerous." A pause. "It's whether he remembers what happened." Then the voicemail ended. Rachel stared at me. "What happened?" "I don't know." Another vibration. A text message. "No number. Your apartment is not safe." Rachel immediately stood. "We're going." "Where?" "Your apartment." "Why?" "To see if someone broke in." We drove there. The hallway outside my apartment was dark. My door looked normal. The lock was intact. Rachel stayed behind me. I opened it. Nothing seemed disturbed. Then I noticed the kitchen light. I had turned it off that morning. Now it was on. We walked inside. Nothing was missing. Nothing was broken. But on my kitchen table was a cup of coffee. Fresh, steam rising from it. Rachel whispered, "You didn't make that." "No." There was a note beside it. "You should have stayed away from Bellwether." Rachel grabbed my arm. "Leave." I nodded. Then something moved in the hallway. We turned. A man stood near the elevator. "Noah." He looked at us, then at the coffee. His face went pale. "You shouldn't be here." I stepped toward him. "How did you get into my apartment?" "I didn't." "Then who did?" He looked at the note. "I don't know." "You knew my name this morning." He closed his eyes. "Because I saw you yesterday." "What?" He looked at me. October 14. My heart stopped. "Yesterday?" "Yes, but today is October 15. "I know." "Then how could you have seen me yesterday?" He didn't answer. Rachel stepped between us. "Who are you?" Noah looked at her. "Someone who is trying to remember." "Remember what?" He looked back at me. "You." Then the elevator opened. A woman stepped out. Red coat. The same woman. Noah immediately stepped backward. She smiled. "Hello, Noah." He whispered, "Mara." Rachel grabbed my hand. "Who is Mara?" Noah didn't answer. Mara looked at me. "You really shouldn't have come home." Then she smiled. "Because now they know where you live." The hallway lights went out. Someone screamed. And when the lights came back on, Noah was gone. So was Mara. Only the coffee remained. And beneath the cup was another note. This time, it had only one sentence. The voicemail was never meant for you. Part 5, Noah's Memory. The next morning, Noah found me at a diner. I knew he would. I just didn't know how. He sat across from me without asking. I owe you an explanation. You owe me several. I know. I pushed the blue book aside. Start with yesterday. He took a breath. Yesterday, I woke up in my apartment at 6:00 a.m. October 14. Yes, I thought today was October 15. It is. So yesterday happened twice. I stared at him. He continued. I lived through October 14 yesterday. That makes no sense. I know. Try. He rubbed his forehead. I woke up yesterday morning, went to work, came home. At 11:48 p.m., I recorded a voicemail. My heart stopped. What did you say? I don't remember. You recorded it. Yes. To me. I don't know. Then why did I receive it? I don't know. I stared at him. He looked exhausted. What happened after you recorded it? I went to sleep. And I woke up again on October 14. Yes. Again. Yes. Same day. He nodded. I thought I was dreaming. Then I checked my phone. Same messages. Same weather. Same everything. Did you say me? Not until the second morning. At Bellwether. Yes. But the voicemail said you would be there. I know. Did you know my name? No. Then why did you call me Emma? His eyes changed. I don't know. Silence. Finally he said, because in my dreams, your name is Emma. I didn't know what to say. He leaned closer. I've been dreaming about you for months. That's not comforting. I know. In the dreams, what happens? You die. The diner suddenly felt too quiet. He continued. Every dream ends the same way. How? You're standing on a train platform. Which one? I don't know. What's happening? Someone is chasing you. Who? Myra. I stared at him. Why? I don't know. He pulled a folded piece of paper from his pocket. He opened it. It was a sketch. A train platform. Snow. A woman standing near the tracks. Me. I looked at the drawing. You drew this? Yes. When? Last year. Before we met. He nodded. Then I noticed something written beneath the drawing. A date. October 16, 2024. Tomorrow. I looked at Noah. What happens tomorrow? He didn't answer. I already knew. Something was going to happen. Something that had happened before. Something neither of us remembered. My phone buzzed. Voicemail. I pressed play. The familiar male voice said, Emma, if Noah tells you about the train station, believe him. A pause, because that's where we met. The recording ended. Noah stared at me. What did it say? I looked into his eyes. The voicemail says that's where we met. He went completely still. Then he whispered, I remember. Part 6, the train station. Noah remembered one thing. A train. Not the station. Not the city. Just a train. He said it appeared in his memory, like a photograph. A red signal. Snow on the tracks. A woman running. And me. But there was another detail. Someone was shouting his name. Myra. We went to Union Station that afternoon. It was crowded, noisy, and completely ordinary. People hurried toward trains with luggage. Families hugged goodbye. Business travelers stared at phones. Nothing looked mysterious. Nothing looked dangerous. Until Noah stopped walking. There, he pointed. Platform 7. A staircase led down toward the tracks. His face had gone pale. I know this. How? I don't know. We descended. At the bottom, he touched the railing. His breathing changed. Then he said my name. Emma. I looked at him. I'm Emily. He shook his head. No. He looked frightened. Your name is Emma. What does that mean? I don't know. A train arrived. The sound seemed to trigger something. Noah grabbed my hand. I didn't pull away. He closed his eyes. I remember. What? You were running. From Mara. Yes. Why? You had something. What? A phone. I reached into my pocket. My phone. Noah stared at it. That's it. What? The phone. He stepped closer. You recorded something. What? I don't know. Suddenly, a voice came from behind us. You remembered too soon. Myra. She stood at the top of the stairs. Red coat. Calm expression. Noah moved in front of me. Who are you? She smiled sadly. You know me. I don't. You will. Then she threw something down the stairs. A small black phone. It landed at my feet. My phone, except mine was still in my pocket. I picked up the other one. The screen turned on. One video. No title. One date. October 15, 2024. I pressed play. The video showed me standing in Bellwether Cafe, but I was wearing different clothes. I was crying. Noah appeared beside me. The woman in the red coat stood behind us. Then Video Me looked directly into the camera. If you're watching this, she said, you've forgotten again. My heart stopped. She continued. That's okay. She smiled. You always forget. Noah whispered, what is this? The video continued. You have 24 hours. A pause. Find the voicemail. The screen went black. Then one final sentence appeared. Do not let Mara reach. October 16. The phone died. Myra was gone. Noah looked at me. What does October 16 mean? I didn't answer, because suddenly I remembered something too. A train, a red signal, snow, and a man's hand holding mine. Part 7. What We Had Forgotten. That night, Noah and I sat in my apartment, with every light turned on. Neither of us trusted the darkness anymore. We spread everything across the dining table: photographs, voicemails, the strange phone, the drawing, dates, names. Every clue pointed toward October 16, but none explained why. At 1:13 a.m., the strange phone turned on by itself. A notification appeared. One new voicemail. Noah and I stared at each other. He pressed play. His own voice came through. "I'm sorry." The recording sounded older, tired, broken. "If you're hearing this, I failed." Noah closed his eyes. The recording continued. "You and Emma are going to forget." I looked at Noah. "Why?" The voice answered, as if it could hear us. "Because that's the only way to keep you alive." Then static. We tried to stop October 16. A pause. Every time we failed. The message ended. Noah looked at me. "How many times?" I whispered, "I don't know." Then another voicemail appeared. This one was my voice. "Don't trust the man you meet tomorrow." Noah stared at me. "You said that." "I don't remember." "Maybe you meant me." "Maybe." We listened. My recorded voice continued. "But don't trust Mara either." Then a long pause. "She isn't trying to kill you." I looked at Noah. "She is trying to save you." The voicemail ended. Neither of us spoke. Finally, Noah said, "We need to find Mara." The next morning, we searched. We discovered Mara's full name was Mara Collins. She had worked at Bellwether Cafe for 6 years. She knew Noah. She knew me. And exactly 1 year earlier, she had disappeared. No police report. No social media. No address. Nothing except one old newspaper article. A woman had vanished after a train accident. The article included a photograph. Myra. Beside her was Noah. My stomach dropped. The caption said, "Local engineer Noah Bennett among witnesses." I read the article twice. "What accident?" Noah shook his head. "I don't remember." The article said a train had derailed on October 16, 2023. 3 people died. 1 passenger was never identified. A woman survived. Myra. The survivor claimed she had seen something impossible before the crash. A man appearing on the platform who hadn't been there seconds earlier. The article ended with one strange sentence. Authorities never determined why the station cameras showed a woman entering the platform twice. I looked at Noah. October 16. He nodded. Every year. I turned the newspaper over. Someone had written on the back, "The first loop started here." Part 8, October 16. We spent the day searching for answers. By evening, we had found too many. The train accident wasn't an accident. At least, Mara didn't believe it was. The original investigation mentioned an unexplained electrical failure. A signal changed from green to red without authorization. The train stopped. Another train entered the section. The collision happened at 11:48 p.m., the same time as Noah's voicemail. That couldn't be coincidence. We went back to Bellwether Cafe. Mara was waiting. She sat alone at the window. When she saw us, she didn't look surprised. "You remembered," she said. Noah nodded. "Tell us everything." Mara looked at me. "Do you remember your name?" "Emily." She shook her head. "Your real name?" I stared at her. She whispered, "Emma." Something inside me cracked. Memories came rushing forward. Not clear, not complete, but enough. I remembered a summer afternoon, a lake, a man laughing beside me. Noah. We were younger. Not much, but younger. We were already in love. I remembered his hand, his voice, a promise, then the train, then darkness. I grabbed the table. Noah caught me. Mara said quietly, "You two met in 2023. I looked at Noah. He was crying. "You were there when the train crashed," Mara continued. "You survived. Why don't we remember?" "Because you asked me to erase it." I stared at her. "You." I tried. "Why?" "Because you died." The cafe seemed to disappear around me. Mara continued, "You died on October 16, 2023. Noah shook his head. "I was alive." "Yes." "Then how?" "You were given another chance." "By whom?" Myra looked toward the window. "I don't know." She lowered her voice. "But every year, the day repeats. October 15, October 16, then back to October 15. Only 3 people remember. Myra, Noah, and me. But each time the loop resets, we forget everything, except fragments, dreams, voicemails, photographs, and feelings. Why are we still repeating it?" Myra looked at Noah. "Because you keep trying to save her." Then she looked at me. "And she keeps trying to save you." I understood. The voicemail wasn't warning me about Noah. It was warning me about what love was going to make us do. Mara reached into her coat. She placed a small key on the table. "Tomorrow night, go to platform 7. Noah asked, "What happens?" Mara's eyes filled with tears. "The loop ends." "How?" She looked at me. "One of you has to choose not to go back." Part 9, The Choice. We spent the night walking through Chicago. Neither of us wanted to return to the apartment. The city felt different. Every street seemed familiar. Every corner carried a memory I couldn't quite reach. At midnight, we sat beside the river. Noah looked at me. "Do you love me?" The question surprised me. "I don't know." He smiled. That wasn't the answer I expected. "Do you love me?" "Yes." "How can you?" "Because I remember enough." I looked at the water. What if none of this is real? Then I'm still sitting here. What if tomorrow resets everything? Then I'll find you again. I laughed softly. "You make it sound easy." It isn't. He took my hand. I've spent 2 years losing you. I looked at him. 2 years. In every version. My eyes filled with tears. He continued. Every time I remember, I try something different. What? I try to keep you away from the station. And you always go. Why? Because you remember me. The truth hurt. Love wasn't the problem. Love was the reason we kept repeating the same mistake. At 2:00 a.m., my phone rang. Blocked number. I answered. My own voice spoke. Emma. I closed my eyes. Listen carefully. The recording sounded terrified. You're going to think you can save Noah. A pause. You can't. Another pause. The only way to end the loop is to let him go. The message ended. Noah looked at me. What did you hear? I told him. He shook his head. No, that's what the recording said. I don't care. You have to. No. He stood. If the loop requires me to lose you, then the loop can keep going. I stood too. Noah, I've already lost you. You're losing me now. He looked at me. No. I stepped closer. You can't decide for both of us. I love you. I know. Then don't ask me to walk away. I touched his face. I don't want to. The city moved around us. Cars, lights, people laughing somewhere behind us. Normal life continuing, while ours had become impossible. Then Noah whispered, "What if the voicemail was wrong?" I looked at him. What if it wasn't telling us to let each other go? What was it telling us? I thought about the words. The only way to keep you alive. Maybe we'd misunderstood. Maybe the sacrifice wasn't love. Maybe it was the thing keeping the loop alive. At 3:17 a.m., we went back to the station, and we found something neither of us expected. A third platform, one that didn't exist on any map. Part 10, Platform 0. The staircase was hidden behind a maintenance door. The key Mara gave us opened it. Beyond the door was a narrow corridor. At the end was a platform. No signs. No advertisements. No passengers. Only a small metal plaque. 0. Noah stared. This isn't possible. What? There's no platform 0. We stepped forward. The air was colder. My phone stopped working. No signal. No clock. No notifications. Just a blank screen. Then the lights flickered. A train appeared. No sound. No headlights. It simply arrived. The doors opened. Inside was an empty carriage, except for one seat. On the seat was a blue book. My book, the same one from Bellwether. I picked it up. Inside the cover was a photograph. Noah and me, standing beside a lake. We were smiling. On the back, October 16, 2023. Noah touched the photograph. I remember this. So do I. We both cried. The train doors remained open. Then a voice came from behind us. Myra, you finally found it. She walked toward us. What is this? Noah asked. The place between memories. That doesn't explain anything. It doesn't have to. Mara looked at me. You have one chance. For what? To choose the memory you want to keep. She pointed toward the train. Once you board, you can return to October 16, 2023. Noah stared at her. And stop the crash. No. Then what? Change one decision. Which one? Mara looked at me. The decision that caused the loop. I felt suddenly afraid. What decision? Mara smiled sadly. You'll remember when you board. I looked at Noah. He took my hand. Together, we stepped onto the train. The doors closed. The world disappeared. And for the first time, I remembered everything. Part 11, the day we met. We met at a bookstore. Not Bellwether. Not the train station. A small, independent bookstore near Lake Michigan. October 15, 2023. I had been carrying too many books. Noah bumped into me. Everything fell. He apologized. I laughed. He helped me pick them up. One of the books was blue. The same blue book. You like mysteries? He asked. I like endings. He smiled. I prefer beginnings. That was how it started. We spent the afternoon talking. Then the evening. Then the next day. Within weeks, we were inseparable. He told me about his work. I told him about my family. We cooked terrible pasta, watched old movies, walked along the lake. We argued about pizza toppings. We laughed until our stomachs hurt. It wasn't dramatic. It was ordinary. And that was what made it beautiful. Then came October 16. Noah had planned a surprise. A train ride. He wanted to take me somewhere outside the city. I was late. He waited. The train was delayed. Then the signal changed. He called me. I didn't answer. I was angry. I had decided not to go. That decision saved my life. Noah boarded alone. The crash happened at 11:48. He died, but somehow I survived. The strange thing was that I couldn't accept it. I went to the station. I found Mara. She had been there. She told me Noah was gone. I refused to believe her. I begged. I screamed. I prayed. And then something impossible happened. The station clock went backward. 11:48. 11:47. 11:46. Everything reset. But Noah came back. Alive. For one day. We thought we'd been given a miracle. We weren't. We were trapped. Every October 16, Noah died. Every October 15, we remembered just enough to try to change it. Every time we failed, because I always answered his call. And every time I answered, he changed his plan. He tried taking another train, another route, another station. Nothing worked until Mara discovered Platform Zero, the place outside time. She told us the truth. The loop wasn't keeping Noah alive. It was keeping me from accepting his death. My grief had created the loop. Noah wasn't trapped because he loved me. He was trapped because I couldn't let him go. I remembered everything, and suddenly I understood the voicemail. The man speaking wasn't trying to save me from Noah. He was trying to save me from myself. I looked at Noah. He was crying. "You remember?" "Yes." "Then you know." "Yes." We stepped off the train. Platform 0 disappeared. Myra stood alone. "What happens now?" Noah asked. She smiled. "You choose." I looked at him. The hardest thing I'd ever done was also the simplest. I kissed him. Then I let go of his hand. Part 12, the last voicemail. The moment I released Noah's hand, the station disappeared. I woke in my apartment. October 15, 2024. Morning. Sunlight through the curtains. No snow. No strange phone. No Marva. No Noah. I sat up. For several minutes, I didn't move. Then I cried. Not because I was afraid. Because I remembered. Every moment. Every version. Every goodbye. Every beginning. My phone was on the nightstand. One voicemail. October 14, 2024. 11:48 p.m. I played it. Noah's voice. "Hey, Emma." I closed my eyes. I know this is going to sound impossible. I smiled through tears. "Tomorrow, you're going to meet me." The message continued exactly as before, except now I understood every word. When it ended, another voicemail appeared. I pressed play. My own voice. "If you're hearing this, it worked." I looked at the phone. "You don't need to go to the cafe." A pause. "You don't need to find Noah." Another pause. "You only need to remember that loving someone doesn't always mean keeping them." I cried harder. The message continued. Sometimes love is being grateful that they happened. Then silence. The voicemail ended. I stayed in bed until sunrise. For the first time in 2 years, October 15 was simply October 15. A normal day. No loop. No prophecy. No warning. At 9 in the morning, I went to Bellwether Cafe anyway. I ordered coffee. I sat near the window. I opened the blue book. The cafe was exactly the same. People came and went. A mother laughed with her daughter. Someone dropped a spoon. The barista called out an order. And then the bell above the door rang. A man walked in. Dark coat, brown hair, blue-gray eyes. Noah. My heart stopped. He looked around. His eyes met mine. He smiled. Then he walked toward me. "Is this seat taken?" I couldn't speak. He pointed at the chair. "Sorry, I just..." He laughed nervously. "You look familiar." I smiled. "Maybe you have one of those faces." "What kind?" "The kind people forget." He laughed. Then he sat. Neither of us knew what to say. Finally, he looked at my book. "I like mysteries." I looked at him. I like endings. He smiled. I prefer beginnings. My eyes filled with tears. But this time, they were happy tears, because the story wasn't repeating. It was beginning again. No voicemail, no prophecy, no loop, just two strangers meeting for the first time. And somehow, after everything we'd lost, that was enough. Part 13, A Different Beginning. We talked for 3 hours. Neither of us mentioned the impossible things. Neither of us said the word loop. Neither of us talked about dying. We were simply two people in a cafe. He told me his name was Noah. I told him mine was Emily. He asked if he could call me Emma. I laughed. Maybe later. He smiled. Fair enough. Outside, snow began falling. The same weather as the previous year. But it felt different, because this time I wasn't afraid of what tomorrow would bring. Noah asked me if I believed in second chances. I thought about it. Yes. Why? Because sometimes the first chance isn't the right one. He nodded. Then he asked if I'd like to walk by the lake. I said yes. We left the cafe together. The city looked beautiful under the snow. As we walked, I realized something. I had spent so much time trying to preserve the past that I had forgotten how to live in the present. Maybe that's what the loop had really been. Not a punishment, not magic. Grief. Grief can make yesterday feel more real than today. It can convince you that if you replay every moment, you might find the second where everything went wrong. But life doesn't work that way. There is no perfect version hidden inside yesterday. There is only the version you choose to carry forward. Noah stopped beside the lake. I feel like I've known you forever. I smiled. That's strange. Very. Maybe we have. He laughed. I looked at the water. For 1 second, I saw the old memory. A train. A platform. His hand. Then it faded, and I let it. That night, I returned home alone. On my kitchen table was the blue book. I hadn't brought it with me. I opened it. Inside was a note. No signature, just one sentence. Some stories are meant to be remembered. Others are meant to be lived. I smiled. Then I closed the book. My phone vibrated. A voicemail. My heart stopped. I stared at the screen. One new message. I pressed play. Noah's voice. But this time, it wasn't from the past. Hey, Emma. I smiled. I know you said maybe later. A pause. So I'm asking now. Would you like to have dinner with me tomorrow? The message ended. I laughed. For the first time, a voicemail didn't frighten me. It made me happy. I called him. He answered immediately. Hi. Hi. Dinner. Yes. Tomorrow. Yes. 7. 7. He laughed. Good. We hung up. I stood by the window. Snow covered the city. Somewhere in the distance, a train passed. I listened to its sound, and for once, I didn't wonder where it was going. I didn't wonder who was on it. I didn't wonder what would happen next. I simply watched the lights disappear into the night, and I understood. Tomorrow didn't need to be predicted. Tomorrow just needed to arrive. Part 14. The Woman Who Remembered. 3 weeks later, Mara found me. I was walking out of Bellwether when she appeared across the street. Red coat, same face, same calm smile. My heart jumped. She crossed the street. "Hello, Emily. How do you know me?" She smiled. "I remember." "Remember what?" "Everything." I looked around. "Where's Noah?" "Working." "Does he remember?" "No." "Will he?" "Maybe." She handed me an envelope. "What is this?" "The last piece." I didn't want to take it. She held it out anyway. Inside was an old photograph. Noah and me beside the lake. October 16, 2023. I turned it over. There was a message. "Thank you for letting him go." I looked at Mara. "Who wrote this?" "You did." "When?" "Before the first loop." I stared at the photograph. "How did you survive?" She looked toward the lake. "I didn't. I went cold." "What?" "The Mara you remember died in the accident." I couldn't speak. The woman standing here is only the memory of her. She smiled. Some people leave behind more than photographs. Then she stepped backward. "Wait." She stopped. "Why did you help us?" "Because I couldn't save Noah." She looked at me. "But I could help you save yourself." Then she disappeared into the crowd. I searched for her. Nothing. No red coat. No footprints. No explanation. That night, I told Noah everything. He listened quietly. When I finished, he said, "Do you believe her?" "Yes." "Why?" "Because I remember." He took my hand. "Then maybe we're not supposed to understand everything." I smiled. "Maybe." Months passed. Spring came. Then summer. We fell in love again. Not the way we had before. This time slowly, carefully, honestly. We had our first real argument over something ridiculous. We got lost on a road trip. We burned dinner. We met each other's friends. We adopted a dog we absolutely were not prepared for. Life became ordinary, and ordinary became wonderful. One evening, Noah asked me to marry him. No dramatic crowd, no expensive restaurant, just our kitchen. He was holding a wooden spoon. I was wearing sweatpants. He looked nervous. "Emily." "Yes." "I know this is not exactly romantic." I laughed. "It really isn't. But I love you." He took my hand. "And I want every ordinary day with you." I cried. "Yes." He smiled. "That's a yes." "Yes." He hugged me. The dog barked. Something fell in the kitchen. We laughed, and for the first time, I realized the future didn't need to be extraordinary. It only needed to be ours. Part 15. The day before. A year later, on October 14, I woke up before Noah. He was asleep beside me. Sunlight touched the wall. For a moment, I thought about the voicemail. The first one, the one that started everything. I wondered whether it would happen again. At 11:48 p.m., I was still awake. Noah was asleep. My phone remained silent. 11:47. 11:48. Nothing. I smiled. Then the phone vibrated. One notification. Voicemail, one new message. My smile disappeared. I pressed play. Noah's voice, but older, calmer. Hey, Emma. I looked at my sleeping husband. I know you're listening. My eyes filled with tears. This isn't a warning. A pause. This is a thank you. I held my breath. You once told me you were afraid of forgetting. I remembered saying it. You were wrong. His voice softened. Some things don't need memory. A pause. They become part of who we are. Then he laughed. And tomorrow, don't go to Bellwether. I smiled. The message ended. I looked at the clock. 11:49. No reset. No darkness. Nothing supernatural. Just another minute passing. I woke Noah. What? Nothing. He looked at me sleepily. Why are you smiling? Because I love you. He smiled. I love you too. Then he pulled me closer. Outside, the city slept. The voicemail disappeared from my phone the next morning. I never heard it again. Maybe it had been real. Maybe it had been memory. Maybe some part of the world had allowed us one final message. I stopped trying to explain it, because some mysteries aren't meant to be solved. Some are meant to remind us that life is short, that tomorrow isn't guaranteed, that the people sitting beside us today might someday become the memories we would give anything to touch again. So we should touch them now, hold them now, tell them now, love them now, because there may never be another October 15. There may never be another ordinary morning. There may never be another chance to say, I love you. And sometimes the most important message isn't the one sent from tomorrow. It's the one we finally have the courage to send today. Part 16. The message I never sent. Years later, I found the original blue book in a box. The cover was faded. The pages smelled like dust. Inside was the photograph. Noah and me, beside the lake. I stared at it for a long time. Then I found something else. A piece of paper. My handwriting. I had never seen it before. It said, if you found this, you're ready. I sat on the floor. The note continued. Don't look for the past. Don't ask whether the voicemail was real. Don't wonder if you could have changed anything. Then one final line. You already did. I understood. The loop had ended because I had chosen the present. Not because I defeated time. Not because I solved some impossible mystery. Because I stopped demanding that yesterday give me back what it had taken. I folded the note, put it back inside the book. Then Noah walked into the room. "What are you doing?" "Remembering." He smiled. "Anything good?" I looked at him. "The best kind." He sat beside me. We opened the photograph together. "I don't remember this day," he said. "You don't need to." He looked at me. "Do you?" "Yes." "What was I like?" I smiled. "Annoying." He laughed. "Seriously, you were kind." "That sounds better." "You made terrible coffee." "I still do." "You talked too much." "Still do that too." "You loved me." He became quiet. "Yes, you still do." He kissed my forehead. "Yes." We stayed there, two people sitting on a floor. Older, different, alive. The world outside continued moving. Cars passed. Children laughed. A train sounded somewhere far away. And I thought about that first voicemail, the one that had terrified me, the one that had told me not to fall in love. It had been wrong, or maybe I had misunderstood it, because I didn't fall in love with Noah because of the voicemail. I fell in love with him because every time I was given the chance to choose, I chose him. But eventually, I learned something more important. Love isn't always choosing someone to stay. Sometimes it is choosing to let them live. Sometimes it is choosing yourself. Sometimes it is accepting that a beautiful story can end without becoming meaningless. And sometimes, impossibly, the ending becomes the beginning. Part 17, tomorrow. The final voicemail arrived when I was 83. I was sitting by the window. Noah was asleep in the next room. The house was quiet. My hands were old. My hair was white, but the phone still looked the same. I pressed play. Noah's voice. Young. The voice from the first night. "Hey, Emma." I smiled. I know this is going to sound impossible. I laughed. After all those years, the words still made me laugh. "Tomorrow, you're going to meet me." I closed my eyes. I remembered Bellwether, the snow, the blue book, the first glance, the fear, the mystery, the love, everything. The message continued. "This time, don't be afraid." My eyes filled with tears. "You've already lived the story." A pause. "Now go live the next one." The voicemail ended. I sat quietly. Then Noah entered the room. He looked older, but his eyes were the same. "Who was that?" I smiled. "You." He laughed. "I'm right here." "I know." He sat beside me. I took his hand. The same hand. The same warmth. Different years. Same love. We looked outside. Snow had started falling. For a moment, I could almost hear a train. I leaned against him. "Do you remember the cafe?" "No." "The blue book?" "No." "The voicemail?" He smiled. "Only because you've told me the story 100 times." I laughed. "Maybe 1,000. He squeezed my hand. "Tell me again." So I did. I told him about the night my phone rang, the mysterious voice, the train station, Mara, Platform Zero, the impossible photographs, the choice, the goodbye, and the morning we met again. He listened. He always listened. When I finished, he said, "Sounds like a good story." It was. He kissed my hand. Still is. That night, I fell asleep beside him, and I dreamed of a cafe, a young woman sitting by the window, a young man walking through the door, snow outside, a blue book on the table, and a voice saying, "Tomorrow." I woke smiling because I finally understood. The voicemail had never really been about time. It had been about choice. Every day is a message from the future. Every morning asks what we will do with the hours we've been given. We can spend them trying to recover yesterday, or we can step forward. We can fear the ending, or we can live the middle. We can hold too tightly, or we can love freely. And sometimes, if we're lucky, we meet someone who makes every ordinary day feel like a second chance. I was lucky. Noah was lucky. And our story began with a voicemail from the day before we met. But it didn't end there, because the best stories aren't the ones that tell us what will happen tomorrow. They're the ones that make us want to wake up and find out. Part 18, the day after. The morning after the last voicemail, I woke before sunrise. The room was quiet. Noah was sleeping. For a few seconds, I didn't know where I was. Then I remembered. Not the loop, not the train, not Platform Zero. Just us, our house, our life, our ordinary morning. I got out of bed and made coffee. It wasn't very good. Noah eventually appeared in the kitchen. He took one sip, made a face. I laughed. Still terrible. Still terrible. Some things never change. He kissed my cheek. We stood together by the window. The snow had stopped. The city was waking. People were going to work. Stores were opening. Buses were moving. Somewhere, a train was carrying strangers toward destinations they hadn't yet imagined. I thought about all those people, all those lives, all those unknown futures. Everyone walking through a story they couldn't see yet. Maybe that's the real mystery. Not ghosts, not time loops, not impossible voicemails. The mystery is that none of us knows what tomorrow will bring. We don't know which stranger will become a friend, which friend will become family, which ordinary morning will become a treasured memory, which goodbye will be the last. We don't know, and maybe that's exactly how it should be. Because if we knew everything, there would be no room for wonder, no room for courage, no room for love. I looked at Noah. Would you change anything? He thought for a moment. No, not even the train. No, not even the accident. No. I looked surprised. He took my hand, because if I changed everything, I might never meet you. I smiled. You met me before. I know. Then why? Because I like this version better. I laughed. So do I. He kissed me. The clock on the wall moved forward. 1 minute, then another. No reversal. No reset. No warning. Just time, moving exactly as it should. Forward. I finally understood why the voicemail had come from the day before we met. It wasn't trying to tell me the future. It was asking me to trust it. To trust that some endings make room for beginnings. That some losses don't destroy us. That some mysteries are gifts. And that sometimes the person we think we're supposed to find has actually been waiting for us to stop searching. I never heard another impossible voicemail. I never saw Mara again. I never found Platform Zero. But every October 15, Noah and I went to Bellwether Cafe. We sat by the window. We ordered coffee. We brought the blue book. And every year before we left, we wrote one sentence inside its cover. The final sentence was always the same. Tomorrow is not promised. So love today. And underneath it, Noah always added, I'll see you tomorrow. I always smiled because I knew he meant it. Not as a prophecy, not as a promise against time, just as two people who had been given another ordinary day. And sometimes, ordinary days are the most extraordinary gift of all. The last time we left Bellwether, snow began falling. Noah opened the door. Cold air rushed in. He held out his hand. I took it. We walked into the snow together. Behind us, the cafe bell rang. Ahead of us, the city waited. No voicemail, no warning, no map, just tomorrow. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't afraid of it. I was excited to meet it. The end